Chilling surveillance video
dragging a young woman.
November 20th, 2015, New Orleans, Louisiana, 4 a.m. A surveillance camera captures a woman stumbling down Mary Street. Seconds later, the scene turns to horror.
What you see is this guy dragging this woman down the block, potentially to be sexually assaulted and raped.
He's trying to force the woman into a car. But at that very moment, a man crossing through the intersection on Margaret Street just happens to see what's going on.
As the scene unfolds, he suddenly hits the brakes, reverses and veers down the street where the man is dragging the woman. With a sense of urgency, he jumps out of his car, determined to lend a hand and rescue the woman in distress.
That's when things get really scary.
He is pleading with this guy to leave her alone, and then he was just horrified.
Suddenly, the hooded assailant pulls out a semi-automatic gun, turning it on the Good Samaritan. The commotion wakes local residents.
They heard a guy yelling outside, "I don't have any money." This whole scenario was fraught with danger.
Then, things take a chilling turn.
The guy shot him in the stomach.
Shots have been fired, and the man who jumped in to help a complete stranger is on the ground. But the gunman isn't done with it.
The neighbors witnessed him attempting to execute him. His attacker relentlessly fires multiple shots at point-blank range, aiming for the head.
It's difficult to watch, but incredibly, the gun jams repeatedly.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
As witnesses frantically dial 911.
Witnesses stating that they heard a pop. Gentleman shot 1 time in the stomach.
The gunman gives up and flees the scene in this SUV. The woman who he violently dragged down the street appears to be in a state of complete shock. Police respond quickly, rushing both her and the man who tried to kill her to the hospital. It turns out the man who's been shot is 25-year-old aspiring Dr. Peter Gold, a 4th-year medical student at Tulane University, and he's instantly hailed as a hero.
The medical student who took a bullet to save a stranger.
He could have just kept driving, but selflessly chose to help a stranger, foregoing other options and showing remarkable compassion and bravery.
What's more, while the woman is treated for minor injuries and released, Peter is now battling for his life.
Peter was rushed into surgery.
When Peter's loved ones see the shocking surveillance video of his vicious attack, they are furious.
They were devastated as their loved one was brutally murdered right in front of them.
The woman Peter tried to save is traumatized and asks for privacy as she recovers. The video of Peter risking his own life to try and save her instantly goes viral.
This is shooting of a Good Samaritan.
Shot in the stomach.
And everything about this brazen attack angers the city of New Orleans, setting off a massive manhunt.
The intensive search this morning for the gunman.
It is clear that this is a dangerous individual who doesn't value the lives of others. Someone knows who he is, someone knows where he is hiding.
On November 21st, 1 day after Peter is shot, detectives find the SUV his attacker fled in and learn that it was driven by 21-year-old Uric Kane, who has a history of theft and firearms charges.
He is no stranger to law enforcement.
We know who you are, and you need to know that we are going to find you.
But that same day, Kane violently attacks 2 other people in New Orleans.
Kane used a handgun to carjack and then abduct a 41-year-old female and 54-year-old male. And this is where he raped both of them.
During the horrific sexual assault, Kane revealed his nickname as Murder and threatened them that he will kill them if they go to the police.
How is this going to end? After a medical student is shot when he attempts to help a woman who is being violently dragged down the street in New Orleans, the city is on edge, and police launch a tireless effort to find the man responsible.
You cannot hide, you cannot run, we're going to catch you.
3 days later, on November 23, 2015, They finally find Uric Kane hiding out at his girlfriend's home.
He's arrested without further incident and has given our detectives a full confession.
The announcement comes on the heels of an emotional moment in Peter's hospital room.
Peter's loved ones were devastated, thinking he had passed away, but their grief turned into shock when he suddenly woke up in the ICU 2 days after surgery, surrounded by friends and family.
Peter's loved ones are incredibly relieved he has pulled through, and they are in awe of his actions.
As Peter's memory slowly returned, he started recalling what really happened that horrific night.
For Peter, it all began as a routine night after a late shift at the hospital.
Peter was driving home from work, talking to his mom on the phone when he suddenly sensed something was wrong. He asked his mom to hold on as he tried to figure out what was amiss, his heart pounding with unease. Little did he know this moment would mark a turning point on his day and possibly alter his life's trajectory.
It was a fleeting moment of chance. What if Peter had been looking the other way as he drove through that intersection? But it only takes one glance to know that he has to do something.
Peter witnessed a man dragging a girl down the middle of the road in a chokehold and quickly drove away. Realizing he was the only person there, filled with mix of shock, fear and determination, he was resolute in finding help for the girl and ensuring her safety.
But from the moment Peter steps out of his car, the situation is frightening.
Peter confronted the man, yelling at him to stop dragging the girl and leave her alone. The man immediately dropped the girl and turned his aggression towards Peter. The situation escalated rapidly as the man charged towards Peter, who braced himself to defend against the sudden attack.
That's when Kane demands money.
Peter desperately searched for something to offer the attacker. Realizing he had nothing of value except his phone, he offered it to the man, pleading for him to take it. And at that point, the attacker just said,
"Forget it, I'm gonna kill you."
And he shot Peter, point blank in the stomach.
Wounded and bleeding, Peter won't learn until later that Kane was pointing the gun right at his head, repeatedly trying to fire again.
Peter fell to the ground after being shot and realized he needed to call his family for help. Despite the pain, he crawled towards his fallen phone with a sense of urgency, determined to make the call and seek assistance.
Peter also has no idea that his mom never hung up. She heard everything.
This whole entire time, Peter's mom was on the phone. She listened on the phone as the man dropped her son and also heard the gunshot. The experience was deeply traumatizing for her, leaving her feeling helpless and devastated.
While he's recovering, Peter gets a letter from the woman he was trying to protect.
The girl Peter had saved thanked him for saving her life and doing the right thing even when nobody was looking. Her gratitude deeply touched him, reaffirming his belief in standing up for what is right.
And on October 31st, 2016, Uric Kane is sentenced to 54 years behind bars for Peter's shooting, and for kidnapping and raping a couple the next day. In a statement, Peter says the ordeal has left him in disbelief, saying he's lucky to be alive. There is no reason for this terror.
Peter's actions have ignited a debate. Some see him as a hero, while others view his actions as foolish. We want to hear your perspective. What's your stance on this moral dilemma? If you were in his shoes, facing a life-threatening situation, would you risk it all to save a complete stranger? Share your viewpoint with us in the comment section below.